Hello, everyone. Welcome to Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from Apple Valley. I am Steve.
And I am Scott.
Thank you so much for joining us today, this morning. Researchers at the NYU Pain Research Center, that's fittingly appropriate that New York would have a pain research center, have identified a novel receptor for nerve growth factor, NGF, that plays a critical role in pain signaling despite being unable to signal independently. Okay. These findings, published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, could pave the way for new treatments for arthritis. That my fingers are starting to hurt, and my knees, Shersty's knee is starting to hurt, so we should probably lose some weight.
Comes on to just about
besides
everybody,
that,
right?
yeah.
Everybody that's semi-active or active gets hit with that.
So new treatments for arthritis, inflammatory pain, and cancer pain, addressing the limitations of previous therapies that failed in clinical trials due to side effects. Cellular research indicates that neuropilin-1 plays a crucial role in pain signaling, presenting a potential pathway for developing or repurposing treatments to manage chronic pain. Would you like to know more?
Researchers at the NYU Pain Research Center have identified a novel receptor for nerve growth factor that plays a critical role in signal or pain signaling, despite being unable to signal independently. These findings, published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, could pave the way for new treatments for arthritis, inflammatory pain, and cancer pain, addressing the limitations of previous therapies that failed in clinical trials due to side effects. Quote, nerve growth factor is unusual because it's one of the few patient-validated targets for pain, said Nigel Bennett, professor and chair of the Department of Molecular Pathobiology at the NYU College of Dentistry, interesting, and the study's senior author.
Dentistry.
So, yeah,
like nerve endings.
Again, a quote, we wanted to think of a way of circumventing side effects in an effort to find safer, non-opioid therapies for arthritis and other forms of chronic pain. That's good.
I've heard of chronic pain with teeth, toothache, but arthritis in the teeth?
Well, you get jaw bone in there, so you
I guess,
get, arthritis in your jaw bones and stuff. It's going to affect. I mean, it's like a paper cut. You get a paper cut on your hand, and it's a little tiny thing, but it hurts really bad. You get a toothache or anything involved in your jaw area, it's just, it's aggravating.
Oh yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah,
and it was just mind-boggling. It's just going out of my mind. That pain.
Your mouth is probably one of your most used parts of your body, right? I mean, you're either talking or breathing or eating. I mean, it's a pretty sensitive area.
That is. I never thought of it.
It's like your water heater in your house. People don't think about how often a water heater is used.
Are you selling? Are you endorsing a product right now, Scott?
Just coming. No, I just know that I have to replace my water pretty soon.
Okay. We need to get paid for that if you're getting endorsing.
Yeah, I'm not endorsing. Okay, although Bradford White is a great water heater. If you're out there shopping for water heaters, Bradford White's a good product. Good make.
NGF is a protein that promotes the growth and survival of neurons while also acting as a potent pain mediator in both animals and humans. So when I hear animals, I think mice because they test mice all the time. Yeah. Except for Fauci, he tests beagles and monkeys.
But I mean, they used to use rats, right? Like lab rats. You don't hear about rats much anymore.
Maybe the genus is too large.
Maybe they snuck out.
Maybe mice are more manageable. They don't bite you as much as rats do.
Turtles? No, they don't use turtles.
Turtles? Yeah, they can't escape at all. They're so slow.
But I mean, do they react though to some of the tests? Mice are pretty active, so they would. Anyway.
Yeah. It is released by cells in injured or diseased tissues and triggers pain by binding to its primary receptor, tropomyosin receptor kinase A, TRKA. We're just going to call it TRKA.
Good.
Monoclonal antibodies, lab-made proteins that mimic our natural antibodies, are bind to specific proteins to treat diseases.
Okay, so monoclonal, that was something that they were using to treat COVID, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They have emerged as a promising treatment for chronic pain by targeting nerve growth factor and sequestering it, kind of hiding it. In large clinical trials, monoclonal antibodies relieved osteoarthritis pain. Oh, I love that. Better than placebo. Of course, placebo is nothing.
Yeah, the mind is
or other drugs.
mind is a very powerful thing, though.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But because some patients experienced worsening joint damage, the treatments were not approved.
In a series of studies using mouse and human neurons, there we go, the researchers discovered a new receptor of nerve growth factor, neuropilin 1, NRP1. We'll use that, right? That abbreviation.
I'm down with that.
Okay. A protein expressed in neurons and other cell types. To determine this, they observed that nerve growth factor has a stretch of amino acids that is known to allow other proteins to bind to NPR1, not to be confused with NPR, the radio.
I might have did the letters
NPR?
backwards.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
NRP?
I might have mistyped.
Oh yeah,
that.
okay.
That's my bag.
Yeah, so NRP is what we're talking
about.
The
producers. We'll blame the producers.
Sure. Was also expressed in the same cells at the nerve growth factor receptor, TRKA. Examining pain-sensing neurons, the researchers found that NRP1 could bind to nerve growth factor with high affinity, and when NRP1 was blocked in neurons from both mice and humans, it inhibited nerve growth factor from signaling pain.
Okay.
Okay. So the researchers concluded that NRP1 is a co-receptor for nerve growth factor, as unlike TRKA, NRP1 is known to signal on its own.
Not known to signal.
Not known to signal on its own.
So this is good news for boxers, karate aficionados, where they can suppress the pain. Football, rugby.
Yeah, any of the
combat
related stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soldiers.
Football.
Yeah, just you get your arm blown off, just put a tourniquet on. Keep firing. Rub some dirt on it.
As long as you're taking this stuff, right?
Yeah. You
pop a couple of these things or take a shot or whatever.
Our findings suggest that neuropilin 1, well, this is a quote, is required for nerve growth factor to signal pain, even if it's indirectly regulating it, said Bonnet. In further cellular studies, the researchers discovered two mechanisms that explain the NRP1's role in pain. First, when binding to nerve growth factor, NRP1 increases the local concentration of nerve growth factor that is presented to TRKA, the signaling receptor. In addition, NRP1 was found to be a molecular chaperone, or a protein that aids in the trafficking of other proteins in the cell. Move it along. Let's move it along. Right? In this case, TRKA. NRP1 interacts with TRKA and brings it from the interior of the cell to the plasma membrane on the surface. Now we're digging into some deep biology here. I never took biology in high school. Did you?
I took biology, but it didn't go well.
Yeah, I didn't. Because I just wasn't interested. I was an earth science kind of guy. I still am. Right. This increases the amount of TRKA on the cell surface to recognize nerve growth factor and signal pain.
The researchers then used molecular modeling to better understand the interactions between nerve growth factor, TRKA, and NRP1 at the surface of cells. Their modeling suggests that two molecules of nerve growth factor, 2 molecules of TRKA, and 2 molecules of NRP1 together form a pain signaling complex.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Finally, the researchers identified a protein, G-alpha, interacting protein C terminus 1, that appears to, I don't remember any of these on the periodic table, right? That appears to play a critical role in connecting TRKA and NRP1 and signaling pain. GIPC1 links TRKA and NRP1 to a specific molecule that transports the pain signaling complex into the cell's interior, which may lead to sustained or chronic pain. So we go from just a flesh wound,
right,
to, oh my gosh,
agonizing.
My arm's blown off, and start freaking out, right?
Yeah. That's happened. I mean, I've cut myself and I'm fine, and my friend says, hey, don't look at it. I look at it and I start freaking out.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm okay with blood. I don't really have a problem with blood. Anybody's. So, but it's, it's just one of those things. I know people that don't like blood, period.
Right.
Theirs, anybody's. So,
Yeah. So all this big highfalutin words that we're saying is basically it's saying they can suppress pain, right?
right.
Given
Which
the
I don't know. Is that really that good of a thing? I mean, you need to know that you're hurt so you'll get help, right?
yeah, well, yeah,
So
before you bleed out or something like that. Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, unless you're fighting for your life, but then again, I mean, I'm not against some of the barbaric or combat type stuff that we were just talking about, like the
Hand to hand.
yeah,
Yeah.
the what do you call it, UFC and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to each his own. It doesn't get me excited, but man, some of those guys just get pummeled. And when do you know to say
That's
tapping
enough.
out?
Yeah,
It's enough. If you had this kind of stuff, it might take you past the point where
And
now
it
you
might
start
hurt you even
going
more.
brain damage, and
Yeah.
I mean, some of these guys have died. So
Yeah.
but to each his own. So
Given the newfound role of NRP1 in nerve growth factor pain signaling, the researchers envision several ways that this knowledge can be used to redeploy existing therapies to treat pain and create new ones. I was just thinking that it could replace opioids, right? So that you don't
very
get addicted.
addictive.
Yeah.
Very addictive.
Yeah. Blocking NRP1 with established compounds is one option, as NRP1 inhibitors, including monoclonal antibodies, have already been developed to treat cancer. We could test these monoclonal antibodies that target NRP1 in models of pain, said Bonnet. Because these treatments would target receptors at the surface of pain-sensing neurons, this specificity might avoid the side effects seen with other monoclonal antibodies that sequester all nerve growth factor in the body.
The researchers also are also harnessing their new understanding of the pain signaling complex, determining the sites at which nerve growth factor TRKA and NRP1 interact, and generating peptides that disrupt them. In the Journal of Clinical Investigation Study, the researchers created one such peptide that blocked the ability of nerve growth factor to interact with NRP1, which stopped pain in cellular studies. Quote, we can use this information as a springboard to develop new peptide-based analgesics that prevent this signaling complex from forming, said Bonnet. So,
Okay, so we're working on it. Could replace opioids.
yeah, which is probably a good thing, right? Because again, I know people that have been on, I think we talked about it, pain management, and they, they'll get a shot or they'll get some kind of a dose or whatever it is. And they'll feel that, after a few days and knowing that they're not going to be able to get another shot for a considerable time, they say, they start feeling bad after the first 3 or 4 days and they can't get another shot. So they just got to deal with it. I think that's, again, we're going back to the mind thing. I've had people tell me that they get a shot or they get this relief and it doesn't help. But when I've talked to, like in my mom's case, I talked to the doctor and she said, your mom just doesn't realize that the pain that she would have without this pain management would be excruciating. So this isn't allowing her to move and get up and, be semi-mobile. So yeah, again, it's a mind thing. The mind is pretty involved in this. So same with opioids, right? I mean, that's how you get addicted, right? Your mind just says, man, it's just too bad. I need another one. And just, it's crazy. So anyway.
All right, folks, thanks for joining us. Watch out for this afternoon. We'll have more content for you.
Take care, everyone.